They say the mat doesn't lie, and that's true, but it also doesn't talk, not the way people think it does. The mat doesn't brag, it doesn't sugarcoat, it doesn't make excuses or hand out sympathy. The mat doesn't care how strong you look on Instagram, or how many stripes are on your belt, or what kind of car you pulled up in. It doesn't care about your status, your job, your politics, or your paycheck. What it does, what it is a mirror, a silent, unflinching reflection of who you are when everything else is stripped away, when you're tired, when you're vulnerable, when you're scared, when it's just you and another human being in a battle that demands your undivided attention and complete honesty. I spent my adult lifetime in uniform, my boots laced up, gear packed on my back, orders followed, chaos navigated. I was an infantry paratrooper for over 10 years. I've been to Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria, places most people will never see except in documentaries and nightmares. I've seen what men are capable of, the very worst and the very best. And when it came time to take the uniform off and step out of the war zone and back to a normal life, I didn't come home empty handed. I carried a rucksack full of memories, some good and some not. I brought back scars, some visible and some invisible, the kind the VA doesn't track, the kind that shows up at night or in long silences when loud noises startle or a car misfires. I'm telling you now, Jiu-Jitsu saved my life. Not in some dramatic, made-for-TV moment. Didn't sweep in like a hero with a cape. There were no fireworks, no choir singing in the background. It wasn't some Hollywood redemption arc. It was quieter than that. It was more subtle, like the steady beat of a drum in the distance. A rhythm pulling me back to something real, something grounded. A way to move forward when everything else felt stuck and I felt like the mud was covering me. Jiu-Jitsu didn't fix me, it forged me. I've been married for 21 years now. That's 2 decades of learning how to be a husband. Sometimes learning the hard way. I've raised 2 kids. I've wiped tears and patched up scraped knees. I've sat awake at night wondering if I'm doing the right thing. I've carried the pressure of trying to be strong when I felt anything but strong. And I've learned something that a lot of men are afraid to admit. Being a good man doesn't come naturally. It has to be trained, sharpened, forged through the fire of challenge and repetition and competition, of humility and failure, and nothing, and I mean nothing, has taught me more about being a better man than Jiu-Jitsu. Because Jiu-Jitsu doesn't care about your intentions. It forces you to become what you say you are. We don't train because we like getting beat up. Well, maybe some of you do. We don't train because we enjoy pain. And we damn sure don't train because it's easy. We train because it's hard. Because the world is loud and confusing and full of temptation. Because if we don't choose the hardship of discipline, we get swallowed by the chaos of comfort. We get soft, we drift, we lose our edge, and we lose ourselves. And I've seen what happens when men lose themselves. Jiu-Jitsu is where we choose that hardship. It's where we willingly suffer so that we can become the kind of men who carry that suffering, who can carry that suffering. Not just our own, but the weight of those we love. The gym, the dojo, the academy, call it what you want. But for me, it's a sacred place. It's the altar where I lay down my ego and confront my weakness, where I bury the things that don't serve me. It's the one place in this world where the truth still matters. On the mat, you can't lie, not for long. Because ego doesn't survive more than a round or two. It's going to get squashed out of you. You either learn or you tap, and even that is a form of learning. You tap, you breathe, you reset, and you go again. And through that process, something begins to shift inside of you. I've seen grown men cry, seen young men find direction and purpose. I've seen the battered and broken, men, women, veterans. I've seen them begin to heal. The strength is force and the bonds of the community that come after jiu-jitsu. I've seen fathers come alive again. I've seen marriages strengthen. I've seen communities grow. I've seen lives saved, not metaphorically, but literally, because someone found the mat before they found the bottle or the pills or the end of a rope. We train because life is heavy. And the mat is one of the only places that teaches us how to carry that weight the right way. You learn how to breathe when you're panicking, how to stay calm under pressure, how to lose with grace and how to win with humility, how to get up after getting smashed for 6 straight minutes by someone half your size. We train because most men out there are lost, angry, isolated, pretending they're okay, numb from whatever the day's distraction is, addicted to comfort, afraid to feel anything real. And I'm ashamed to say I've been that man. But I'm proud to say that I'm not that man anymore. When I slap hands with another human being, we roll. There's no pretending. There's only breath, posture, and survival, adjustment, right? There's no time for excuses, no room for denial. You either show up or you don't. And sometimes for that 6 minutes, that's enough to reset the world. And that's the miracle of this art. That's why we come back. And look, I know this isn't the sport for everyone. It's hard, it's humbling, it's uncomfortable. But that's why it works. It forces you to become more than you were yesterday. And it gives you something real to pass down. Because let me tell you, if you're a father and you train, your kids notice. They see it. They watch you get up when you're tired, how you treat your training partners, how you handle losing. They see your black eye and ask how it happened. And you get to tell them about grit and perseverance and how you're still learning, even after 20 years of jiu-jitsu. If you're a husband and you train, your wife feels it. She sees you walk with more purpose. She hears the way you speak with more clarity. She watches you come home from the gym exhausted but fulfilled, your mind working and churning. And even if she never says it outright, she knows. She knows that the man who walked in training is calmer, stronger, and steadier and more alive. And if you're a community member, a coach, a mentor, a neighbor, jiu-jitsu gives you something rare in this world, a respect earned without words, a quiet strength, a gravity, if you will. You don't have to say much, but people will feel it because you live it. That's why we train, because we're not just trying to get in shape. We're trying to become the kind of men our families, our communities, and our country needs. And here's the truth most people won't say out loud. There's no retirement for manhood. There's no off-ramp. No, I did my time. When it comes to being a protector, a provider, a guide, a rock, you have to earn that title every damn day. And jiu-jitsu gives us the tools to do that, to sharpen the sword, to check your ego, to stay dangerous, but disciplined, to stay calm and gentle in the face of adversity. So yeah, some people might think it's just rolling around on a mat and a bunch of dudes getting sweaty. Let them think that. Because the ones who know, well, they know. The art isn't just about choking someone or defending yourself in a fight. It's about learning how to fight the hardest opponent of all, ourselves. And every day we show up, we win a little more of that fight. That's why we train. There's a strange silence that follows war. Not just the silence of no more gunfire or the lack of radios crackling or our boots stomping through the dust, kicking up debris. It's deeper than that. It's the silence that creeps in when the mission ends, but when your mind doesn't get the memo. When I came home, people thought the hard part was over. They said things like, "You made it back, man. You must be relieved." They saw my body in one piece. They assumed I was good to go. They assumed the soul's good to go. But coming home isn't always the end of the story. Sometimes it's the beginning of a different kind of war. One without an enemy. One with an enemy that you can't see. Where the battlefield's between your ears. There's no rule book for being a civilian again. After you spent years living by the rhythm of war, you don't realize how much your identity is tied to your purpose until the purpose gets taken away. Until you go from leading men in life or death missions to standing in line at the DMV and wonder if this is it now, if this is all that's left. For a long time, I didn't know where I belonged. I wasn't comfortable around crowds. I wasn't interested in small talk. The things people complained about felt foreign and useless to me, like they don't know how good they have it. In short, I had a short temper. I was distant. And worst of all, I was stuck in my head. That's when I remembered the mat. That's when I started going all in on jiu-jitsu again. I've been training off and on for years. I never went a year without competition, unless I was deployed. But it was my medicine. Because jiu-jitsu doesn't ask who you are or where you were. It doesn't care about your service. It doesn't care about your DD-214 or what patch you wore. It just cares who you are when you walk on the mat. Because in a world that suddenly didn't make sense anymore, the mat did. There were rules, there were guidelines, there was structure, there's consequences. You either tap or you don't, or you get injured, or you get put to sleep. You win or you learn. You learn and win. These are the same thing. When someone coming out of the military like me, especially the kind of units I was in. Realness matters. I didn't need comfort. I didn't need support. I didn't need groups holding hands and singing kumbaya. I needed a struggle. I needed pressure, and I needed to earn my place in society. And jiu-jitsu gave me that. And when you're rolling, nothing else exists. Not the bills, not the past, not the nightmares. It's you and another person locked in a physical chess match, where every mistake teaches you something. Every escape builds confidence. Every tap reminds you that failure is at the end. It's just part of the path. And there was something else too. It reminded me of the team. It reminds me of having the crew back. In combat, you can rely on the man next to you. His life is in your hands and your hand is in theirs. You build a bond that most people will never come to understand. That brotherhood, it becomes part of you. And when it's gone, you feel the void like a missing limb. But on the mat, there it is. It was waiting for me. Different, but familiar. You can train with the same people day after day. You learn to trust them. You trust that they'll choke you but not hurt you. They'll push you but protect you. They'll see you at your weakest and never come back and throw it in your face. It's not the same as war, but it's a war. And we fight it every day. When you've lived through some of the things that I've lived through and had fun with these experiences, you need something to do. And jiu-jitsu is that something for me. And that's because the mat never cared how I felt. The mat didn't care. And the accountability, it shows up in my training. If I wasn't accountable to my training, it shows when I'm on the mat grappling. I became more patient the more I trained. The more I trained, the stronger I became, the better father, a better husband. And maybe that's the craziest part of all. Jiu-jitsu didn't just help me survive the transition from soldier to civilian. It's always been there for me, but it helped me transform to a better husband, father, a better community member. I know I'm not alone. I've seen everyone from firefighters to medics, all of them coming in carrying their own weight in the gym, eyes heavier and heavy hearts. Their long night or a long shift or a long day, looking at some of the worst things imaginable. And I watched jiu-jitsu give them purpose again, bring them back from the brink, give them something grounded, relieve their body of all the tension and stress that they have, be able to go home and get a decent night's sleep, even if that is only 3 or 4 hours for them. And in a country that's forgotten what masculinity looks like, this is it. This is how boys become men. And this is how men remember who they are. So any of the veterans out there listening, I see you. I know the fight you're in. And I'm telling you, there's still a battlefield where you belong. It may not be overseas, not with a rifle in your hand, but it's right here on the mat and in your community. Every man I know is carrying something. Some kind of regret, some failure, rage. Most men carry all three tightly packed and tucked away behind a half-hearted smile or a quiet nod when I ask them how they're doing. And they say, "I'm good, man." That phrase should be engraved on tombstones because most of the time it's a lie. What we really mean is I'm surviving, I'm managing, I'm holding it together the best I can. But nobody wants to say that out loud because men are expected to be fine, to be steady, to be rocks, to be providers, problem solvers, planners, prosecutors, protectors. Never the protected. And that's the silent contract most of us sign somewhere along the lines in the relationship that we have and maintain. Go train.